And obviously, when you've got him at the focal point of any attacks, and I think we've already seen the contrast from last week to this, the lads are getting used to him, and he's going to be in that scenario. Get used to that passage of play because very simple. But yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of goals coming from that situation.
It's funny, even there talking. I mean, Trevor, I hope you didn't think I was being rude. Look at that, that's fantastic.
Brilliant.
You can't even when he's on the screen. You kind of you're just drawn to him. You know, the presence that he has, and I guess we have to talk about him, Shaun, because as we know, we won the league without a striker, but we always knew that we needed to fill the Sergio Aguero's boots. Whether we could find someone to do that, who knows? I don't think he's ever going to match what Aguero's done in the 10 years of his career. But in Erling Haaland, I mean, that's the dream start, and he looks.
It's the dream start you want, to come in. He's had the Community Shield game. Critics were all against him. He's had a chance. He's missed. Pleased to see him be in that situation to get the chance. Today, showing bravery of, I want this penalty. I've earned the penalty. I want the penalty. Letting Pep and the team know I'm a name that needs to be done when it comes to penalties. Again, the timing of his runs. He's made a couple runs, and every time when I look at City and I look at him in City, I just think I could see him getting 7-8 goals with balls through like that from him. I could see balls that get pulled back to him. I see 10 of them. I see this guy hitting easy 20 goals, and I know saying that's real simple and easy, and it also puts pressure, and I don't want to put pressure on a top player. But I can see him getting these goals. I really can. Yeah,
I mean, he's kind of there. I mean, we saw. It's funny. We all think we know Erling Haaland, and I'm going to ask you both another question about that in a second. But the second goal as well. We talk. You can talk us through that, Trent. But the run, and I mean, for the
first and foremost, I think Grealish does brilliant because he's got Soufal right up against him, trying to stop him playing out, and he waits. He moves the ball, manipulates the ball, finds that passing angle to play the ball in, and I think it's Rodri who receives it. Yeah. It beats the whole of West Ham's press. All of a sudden, Rodri's half-turned, gives the ball in, nice simple pass through the middle by De Bruyne. And honestly, that pattern of play, that passage of play, I think it'll get a lot of goals for Manchester City with him in the team. And I don't know about you two, but I mean, as soon as that ball was played and he got his first touch out of his feet, I thought there was no. When some players go through and you think, oh, it's a tough fit. I just thought, this is a goal, man. Because I've seen him do it so many times for Borussia Dortmund. So, no, wonderful play by Grealish. Obviously, the lads are starting to work on these patterns of play, which are more central, more simple. But when you've got that complication on the wings, to have that as well, I think that just adds another layer to Manchester City's play.
That's the great thing about City. I mean, there was a point when they tried to press. They had 5 players. West Ham had 5 players in the press. And as you say, Grealish just got out of their press, and then everything opened up. And when you have City with the wide players and the presence of a centre forward, if you mess up on that press, you're dead. De Bruyne on the ball, middle of the park. And I mean, for him, it must have felt like pass
too easy,
because the defenders were so wide apart. It was like it's not a squeezing pass. He's put it through thinking, I've got all the time in the world to make this pass, and also it's not a real narrow angle. He puts it on the plate, and absolutely delighted for him because he's come here to score goals. Yeah. Brilliant,
and he's already started.
Just looking at his face there, I know we've seen him smiling, and Pep's come out and said he's a popular lad already. He's getting on with his teammates. That look there looks like someone he's not. Listen, he loves the fact that his dad played for the club and he's here to, play for Manchester City as well. But that looks like he's not here to mess about. He wants to absolutely break records.
Yeah, and I think as well, you can almost feel it in the team as well. That it's almost, I don't know, he seems to be with signings at times. I'm always like, oh, that's the missing piece of the jigsaw that Cheeky has been building. But this really does feel, and
it excites everyone, doesn't it?
I said to you, the potential of what assists De Bruyne could end up with by the end of the season, to the goals that he could end up with, and then what that means for City. I mean,
as a whole,
it's frightening, and other fans like, sorry, Trevor.
Last season when we were talking about Kane, I didn't have the same kind of excitement that I had this season when we were talking about Haaland. And I don't know what it is. You can't, because Kane's a great centre forward, so it's more organic. You can't put your finger on what it is. But him coming in, I think it's just excited everyone.
Yeah, it really, really has. Very special indeed. Now, I was trying to think, it was a very complete performance, as you said there, Shaun. But if there was anything I could maybe pick out, there was just a few at times lapses in concentration, a misplaced pass, which we've seen in other seasons, which is where we've almost given the opposition the chance to get back into the game.
Yeah.
Would you put that down to just still coming back and not being fully? That's it.
I would put it down to, again, early in the season. Late in the game, we're seeing some of those passes go, just missed. But again, it was when I think back to the game, I'm thinking the quality in terms of not allowing West Ham loads of set pieces, because we all know West Ham are a formidable team when you're talking about crosses coming in and set pieces. Top of my head, I'm thinking they probably had maybe 2 corners. But that's brilliant. That shows you how much we control the game with not giving up fouls, or them having attacks. But again, I think that's just fatigueness coming in. We're 1 or 2 passes that we've given away. But again, when I look back, it was 1 pass. I'm thinking Rodri, he gave it away. I say he started the fire, and 10 seconds later, he's putting the fire out. He's winning the ball back. And I'm just thinking, this is just absolutely brilliant, that how these players, are at such a level in the first game of the season.
I love that. I mean, by the way, Shaun's nickname for Rodri, which is my new favourite, is the fireman, putting out fires. But I mean, we said last season, for me, he was one of my players of the season.
100%.
I mean, I think Foden described him in the Together Champions Again, which you can, by the way, watch on City Plus or Recast. But described him as a mixture of the dribbling of Iniesta, but with the passing and the ball control of Xavi. But then he's also got this physicality, almost like a Busquets. And as I say, they're 3 of not if the biggest and best names, but I do look at him, Trev, and I'm going, if he carries on the way that he's going, he's just picked up from where he was last season.
You look at him, listen, he's obviously a clever lad. He looks after himself impeccably well. I think we're seeing glimpses of all his best parts of his game. He's closing things down, his passing range, he's getting out of tight areas by dribbling skills. He's a much better athlete than when he arrived. I think he's matured very well. He looks like he's going to be in that one of the captain's roles, if you ask me.
I agree.
So he looks like one of them leaders within the side. And just as a whole, we were talking about the passing there. As a manager who wants to play a possession-based game, you've got to accept that players are human. You don't want mistakes out of them all the time, but it's the reaction that counts.
Yes.
And the way that they reacted from that mistake, I think that will give Pep a lot of encouragement.
Absolutely. Final words for some of the lads that came off the bench. Obviously, we've got the new thing in play now, which is 5 substitutions.
Unfair advantage.
I mean, when you're looking at our bench as well, you can't help but say, gosh, I mean, it must be devastating when, you've been running around in 30 degrees heat.
Yeah.
You turn and see the first 2 subs of Bernardo Silva and Julian Alvarez, followed up then by seeing Riyad Mahrez come onto the pitch, Cole Palmer. It's
I mean, if you're, at that point, the West Ham defenders and midfielders must have just thought, take me off, because people don't realise just, one, how hard it was, and then you got a team that could keep the ball as well as Man City did. And West Ham fans may have thought, get near him, leave some. But when your legs are going, you can't get close enough to have a tackle. Yeah. And when you get there, the ball's moved off. The ball's moved to another player. And that's just well done to City, because, West Ham are a really good team. And we saw what they were capable of last season. Brilliant performance by City.
Absolutely. And a quick word on Alvarez, because, I mean, we've all kind of been saying, from what we've seen, I mean, even in pre-season, he was a standout player, but came on there and he's got all those attributes that we love to see in a City player.
Yeah, I think you get it a lot from the South American players. They're tenacious, they don't fear anyone, and they want to affect games. And obviously it broke for him there. I felt sorry for Zuma, because he's just run around for 90 minutes. He got blasted straight in his dish. But I'm excited by him, because he just looks like a player that wants to affect football games. But again, you talk about controlling the game. 700 odd passes, Manchester City today. You looked at the body language of the West Ham players at the end there. They'd had enough. I would have been talking to the ref saying, knock it on the head, ref. Blow early. It's so deflating for players.
And they were trying. Don't get it wrong. They were trying. So.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. I don't even think West Ham were necessarily bad in a way. No. Do you know what I mean? It's just what can you do? Yeah,
you take the opposition out of it. If you control the ball, you take the opposition out. 700 odd passes, and the way that they got triangles all over the pitch, outnumbering West Ham players that are trying to press. And then in the end, the white flag comes up and they're like, knock this on the head.
That's
honestly.
It. So now we've got, I love that man as well. Next week, of course, we've got another week of training, Shaun, so I guess it will just be a case of building on this performance as we look ahead to next week.
Yeah, it's just rest, recovery, a lot of energy going in this game. So it's the ice baths and all that sort of stuff, just making sure that everybody's right for the next one.
Would you think you'd be maybe starting with the same 11, Trev, or could you see maybe mixing it up a little bit?
I think he'll change it, yeah. I think that's going to be the way, and that's probably the way forward for the bigger teams. You know, that was probably what he thought was the strongest team after last week's performance against Liverpool. And then probably, especially in the wide areas and forward, I think that's where you'll see more changes.
Yeah.
Obviously, Haaland, you've got a problem because he won't want to rest. He's 22. He played, 75, 80 minutes, so he'll feel like he's had enough rest to go again. But that's down to Pep and the fitness guys to control that and manage how much minutes he gets. But I would have thought the wide men will be changing week in, week out.
Yeah. Gents, I absolutely love being on with you as always. Thank you so much for your insight and for your words. And a massive thank you to all of you guys at home for watching. So, of course, Matchday Live, we are going to be with you for every game of the season, and come join us every step of the way as we try and defend our Premier League crown and, of course, compete for every trophy that we have on offer. And remember, we've also got our brand new documentary. It's Together Champions Again. There has been 2 episodes out. If you've not seen it yet, if you thought Together was good last time round, this is even better. You can get that on City Plus or Recast. Remember as well, the City app or City website is where you can get all your City news. Massive thank you again to these guys. Thank you to you, and I'll see you soon. Enjoy your Sunday evening. Come on, City.